I don't mind the term African American. I don't want to be called African American.
Why is that?
I'm not African.
My grandmother was a full-blooded Iroquois.
As you're aware, in 1912, Dr. Walter Plecker became the first director of the Bureau of Vital Statistics. But he was part of the eugenics movement, which was a movement about creating one race of people, which was white, and everything else was put in a pot, as Tina Marie would say, and stir it up and call colored.
But basically, when he was the registrar for the Bureau of Vital Records, he changed the names of Indian people in Southampton County.
Exactly.
Their race from Indian to Negro or colored.
Well, it was referred to as colored.
The most significant thing here is to reveal the much greater amounts of Native American ancestry that are present within the African American population than most people realize, because they might have been misled by the use of terms like mulatto and also people of color.
Some of us started here in this land. Everybody wasn't brought over from Africa.
It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you. That the Indians were you.
Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us.
My grandmother was a full-blooded Iroquois.
I know all of that, Mama.
They know this. I am alive because of the blood of a people who never scraped or begged or apologized for what they were. They asked only one thing of this world: to be allowed to be. And I learned through the blood of this people that black isn't beautiful. It isn't ugly. It isn't kinky hair. It isn't straight hair. Black is just black. It broke my heart when you changed your name. I gave you my grandmother's name, a woman who bore 9 children and educated them all. Who held off 6 white men with a shotgun when they tried to drag one of her sons off to jail for not knowing his place. And you had to reach into an African dictionary to find a name that would make you proud.
It comes as a great shock, around the age of 5 or 6 or 7, to discover that the flag to which you have pledged allegiance, along with everybody else, has not pledged allegiance to you. It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you.
On the other hand, we are the only true inheritors of the place called America.
That's right. That's right. It belongs to us.
Because we're still outside of it.
It belongs to us, and there's nobody can do anything about that.
And we will get it. If we continue to move. I think it's a guilt.
In ways that one can't quite see yet. We already have it. That's one of the reasons for the panic.
We have to effect it.
Yes.
We have to know it, and we have to make sure that everybody else...
We have to change it.
Our destiny is tied up in the destiny of America. Before the Pilgrim Fathers landed at Plymouth, we were here. Before Jefferson etched across the pages of history the majestic words of the Declaration of Independence, we were here. Before the beautiful words of the Star-Spangled Banner were written, we were here.
Mr. Muhammad teaches us that Negro is a term that was applied to us during slavery by the slave master. And right today, it's a term that is used only to point out the descendant of slaves. It's never used for black people, period. Africans can come to this country. They aren't called Negroes. And if they are called Negroes, they resent it. So if Negro meant black, as we've been taught, it would be a term that would be applicable to or pliable to everyone. But he says that it is something that means a slave, or something it means something that has been left out of society, politically, economically, educationally, and otherwise.
You don't think of it as an anthropological term?
Definitely. It's not an anthropological term, it's a slave term. And it was a term that was invented in America and was used by the slave makers, slave traders, and slave masters, and attached to the property or the chattel or merchandise that our people represented in that particular day.
And by the way, we're not black. How about that? We're not black. We're Indian. Yeah. We're Native American. Yeah. How many of y'all grandmothers got Indian in your family? Yeah, I'm Indian. Wait a second, but what happened to the Indians? We black. Show me black on the planet. Why you stop recording?
He knows the fucking shit.
Why you sound crazy? Nah, because you think I sound crazy.
No, you don't sound like that. You're talking true. You're talking true.
We're not black. Race was made up.
You're talking true.
Race was made up.
Yeah, with the brown eyes.
Show me black on the planet. Show me black. Everybody else, they European, they Australian, they Chinese, they Japanese. Show me black on the planet. We marginalized as entertainers.
Crazy because he's black.
Nick, what you care about crazy?
I'm laughing because at the end, when the lady said, it's crazy because he's black, I think that's Scotty from Baddies. Because that's where the clip comes from. He was over there with the Baddies girl, and he was talking, and they, that goes over something. She's like, it's crazy because he's black. I'm pretty positive that was Scotty from Baddies. But what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Y'all get up in here and like the video today. I don't know if it'll be a long one, but today we will be discussing Malcolm X, you guys. So I know a lot of y'all are familiar with Malcolm X. We all are. He is, in fact, who we were told Martin was. Back up. Malcolm was who we thought Martin was, and Martin is who we thought Malcolm was. No, not really. Just Malcolm was who we thought Martin was, okay? So it's a lot that they put out there, but there's a whole lot that they keep back. Y'all do recall, what's the man name? Who wrote Roots? Alex Haley. He wrote Malcolm's autobiography, and the wife came out and said that he was alive on mostly all of that. Let me see if I can go find that clip. But Betty Shabazz came out and said that autobiography that he wrote was not accurate. Not only was it not accurate, that basically the same way he lied, I'm talking about Alex Haley, the way he lied about the whole Roots thing, she was saying that it was the same thing as it pertains to that. How you say Alex Haley? How you spell his name? Okay, Haley. Yeah, I wanted to show y'all this clip because she did an interview, and basically she was like, yeah, that book was a bunch of BS. Basically he put a lot of stuff in the book that wasn't true. So again, when we have these authors, and we're going to get back into what we were talking about yesterday, last week, as far as the Harlem Renaissance, because what I'm finding about the Harlem Renaissance is a lot of that was co-opted and a whole bunch of things of that nature too. But ultimately, is this it? I think this is it. I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. These authors and these people that we revere are really government agents, okay? And I want y'all to hear from Betty Shabazz's mouth how she felt about Alex Haley's so-called autobiography of Malcolm. She said it was a bunch of bull, and we all know that that's not far-fetched, seeing that Alex Haley should not have been trusted from the gate. Okay, let's get into it.
Malcolm said that the more I keep thinking about this thing, the things that have been happening lately, I'm not at all sure it's the Muslims.
Well, let me just tell you, Alex kind of took, what do you call that? Creative license? Yes, absolutely. And he did that after Malcolm's assassination. Mm-hmm. Malcolm said from the beginning that it would be the Black Muslims in coordination with the government. He never changed. That was Haley's part that he put in there. One of the things he was saying that he only trusted one woman, and that was me. Alex put it to 4. I don't know who the 4th the other three were supposed to be. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is major. This is from the mouth of the ancestor, Betty Shabazz, okay? This is extremely major because Alex Haley, in my opinion, was a government agent, just like a lot of those authors and writers and artists in the Harlem Renaissance. We don't understand that situation can be real because we were taught to revere these people. These people were great. We talked about Zora Neale Hurston last week, and the Zora Neale Hurston thing turns out to be that the black people, especially the ones in the South, was not rocking with no Zora Neale Hurston. They didn't, as a matter of fact, they didn't really too particularly care for Zora Neale Hurston. But history tells us that she's this great person, right? And even with Sister Betty Shabazz, when she's on here saying he took creative licenses and that happened after he died, like why ask yourself this. Why would Alex Haley turn around and take Brother Malcolm's words and say, oh no, at the end, at first he was saying it was the nation, but it really wasn't the nation. He told me it was the government. No, he said what he said. Malcolm was very intentful in how he spoke and what he said. He didn't, Alex Haley was a government agent and a lie. Just period, point blank. So we got to be mindful of the people that they tell us in history to revere. Those are the people we need to look into. And that's what Educational Friday is all about, looking into the lies that we were being told. So I wanted to show that to y'all. And that speaks to Alex Haley's character, which is little to none. That man, and mind you, he was in the military, Alex Haley, talking about the writer. So who knows? We already went over him before on one of these channels, and we'll go back over on something else because I found some more information about the root story, because I heard that he not only plagiarized the clear man, he plagiarized the black woman too. Crazy. Maya Latrice, thank you for becoming a new member. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Y'all get the likes up on the video. Miss Keedy, thank you for the super chat. She says, happy Educational Friday, Vu and Acorn. Happy Educational Friday. Happy Educational Friday, my love. William, hey, boo. Happy Educational Friday. Thank you so much for the generous super chat. You didn't have to do that. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I so appreciate this. I appreciate everybody who's here. Y'all know I love Educational Friday more than anything. I actually love, I like the morning Joe second. I'll do Educational Friday, morning Joes, and then everything else falls behind it. But I appreciate y'all for being here. I love the smaller crowds because we could really like interact and, really get some stuff done without a whole bunch of distractions in the chat. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, William. I appreciate you, handsome. And you didn't have to send another super chat to correct it. I understood exactly what you're saying. Thank you so much, okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, William always gives face, my love. William, face is given when it comes to William, okay? The face already always gives. Like there's never a moment it doesn't give. So yes, all my people is fly over here. So it is what it is. But y'all get the likes up on the video because we about to get into it. Now, I don't know if you guys know this. I like to look out the window, y'all. I don't know. Maybe I have some, I ain't gonna say I got no ADHD, girl. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I just like having my mind on 45 different things when I'm doing certain stuff. But look, did you guys know that Malcolm X, once he left the Nation of Islam, because this is very important, once Malcolm left the Nation of Islam, due to a lot of things, some of those things were the stuff that was happening with him. Did she email me back? I'm sorry, y'all. I got sidetracked. Scroll down. Did she email me back, or is this? Oh yeah, she did. I got you, Rochelle. Thank you so much. All right. What was I going? Oh, the OAAU. Did you guys know about the OAAU? So the OAAU was not a company, but it was an organization that Malcolm X started. It was the Organization of Afro-American Unity, okay? And he started this organization. We're going to get into it in this video that I found, because that's what made me want to talk about it. But it's the organization. Let me share over here. And as a matter of fact, before we get into his speech, I want to pull it up all together. Hold on. Y'all get the likes up on the video. So basically what happened was Malcolm X, once he left the nation, he ended up starting an organization called the OAAU. Now that was along with some other people. Let me get it up. Okay, here. Is this the same one I already have up? It might be the same one I already have up. This might be the same attachment that I already have. I gotta close some of these windows. This is too much. But he founded the OAAU, and inside the OAAU, basically what happens is it's an organization that he's trying to get African American unity. At the time, you know, we thought we was Afro American, but Afro American unity, and basically trying to get people on the same page, politically and all types of stuff. But I think this is the same attachment, so we'll go to it from here. So after he breaks up, so what happens is he breaks up from the Nation of Islam. Well, not necessarily. Technically, he got silenced, and then he tried to get his way back in, and they wouldn't let him in. Mind you, this is all stemming from a whole bunch of things. He had came out and said JFK's death was the chickens coming home to roost. You know, that made all of the clears mad, and also it made the Honorable Elijah Muhammad upset because he didn't know, and a lot of other people didn't know that he was in bed with these folks. Okay, so that happened. Then after that, they silenced him, so he shut up. He asked and he begged to get back in, and then he wasn't able to get back in. I know it came up about Elijah Muhammad sleeping with the kids. That happened through Elijah Muhammad's son. He's the one who came and told Malcolm that, and then Malcolm exposed it. Now, if I have to be any way critical of Malcolm, I probably would not have exposed it on TV for the world. You know what I'm saying? I probably would have moved a little bit more in silence, but Malcolm did what he did. Okay. He did what he did, and it just was what it was. But I think that to me, that would be the only place I would say I probably wouldn't have done exactly the same as Malcolm did. But ultimately, all this happens. He's disconnected from the Nation of Islam, and he forms his own portion of the Black Muslim group. Now, amongst all that happening, he also has the Organization for African American Unity, right? So we're going to go a bit over this, and then we're going to get right into the video because it's not a lot, but it is some stuff that I want to touch on. So it says Malcolm X's life changed dramatically in the first 6 months of 1964. On March 8th, he left the Nation of Islam. It says, and in May, he toured West Africa and made a pilgrimage to Mecca, returning as El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. While in Ghana in May, he decided to form the Organization of Afro-American Unity, or the OAAU. And it says Malcolm returned to New York the following month to create the OAAU, and on June 28 gave his first public address on behalf of the new organization at the Audubon Ballroom in the Washington Heights section of Manhattan. The address appears below, okay? So here's the speech that he gave. It says, Salam, how do you say that? Alaikum. Oh, Salam Alaikum. That's how you say it. I ain't never seen it wrote. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters and friends and our enemies, everybody who's here. As many of you know, the last March when it was announced that I was no longer in the Black Muslim movement, it was pointed out that it was my intention to work toward a 22 million non-Muslim Afro-American and work among the 22 million non-Muslim Afro-Americans and try to form some type of organization or create a situation where the young people, our young people, the students and others, could study the problem of our people for a period of time and then come up with a new analysis and give us some new ideas and some suggestions as to how to approach a problem that too many other people have been playing around with for far too long. It says, and that we should have some kind of meeting and determine at a later date whether to form a Black nationalist party or a Black nationalist army. Now, this is serious because remember, what's another Black nationalist party? Put it in the chat. What's another political Black nationalist party? I know y'all know this. It's easy too. It's super, super easy. I know y'all know this. There you go. You see what I'm saying? The Black Panthers. That was a political black nationalist party. Now, the people called it a hate group because anything that we do where we're convening together for the betterment of each other, they automatically call it a hate group. That's how it goes. But it wasn't a hate group. It's no different from the Whigs party. It's no different from the Republicans, the Democrats, the Dixiecrats, the Know Nothings. It was no different from any of those people. But they put that hard stigma on there. Same thing they did with Fat Joe. But they put that hard stigma on there so that we can basically be looked at as a issue, so that we won't get the support, and also we'll get everybody to turn against us. We just seen that happen with FBA. Hold on, let me see something. I wanted to see, girl, why can't I get right, girl? I wanted to see if hold on. Now he's starting this black nationalist party, right? This is going to be a problem. Now he's a target. Remember, it's the same thing I showed y'all. It's the same thing I showed y'all as it pertains to Martin. Martin didn't become a target until Martin started talking politically and economically about doing something other than what he was doing. That's when Martin became a target, because they had already just was like, okay, we used you for everything we needed. We don't need nothing no more. Bye. But when Martin started going on the other end, making these political movements and these economic movements, that's when the government was like, yeah, they gotta go. They gotta go. Okay. I wanted to see if I could find, I think this is it too. I wanted to get y'all the video. Hold on. Y'all get the likes up on the video. I know this is one of the speeches. Let me see. Let's get into it. I don't know if it's the same speech, but I want to get into this so y'all can see. Hold on. Get the likes up.
Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters,
just the one,
our friends and our enemies. Everybody is here. As many of you know, last March, when it was announced that I was no longer in the Black Muslim movement, it was pointed out that it was my intention to work among the 22 million non-Muslim Afro-Americans and to try and form some type of organization or create a situation where the young people, our young people, the students and others, could study the problems of our people for a period of time and then come up with a new analysis and give us some new ideas and some new suggestions as to how to approach a problem that too many other people had been playing around with for too long. And that we would have some kind of meeting and determine at a later date whether to form a black nationalist party or a black nationalist army. There have been many of our people across the country from all walks of life who have taken it upon themselves to try and pool their ideas and to come up with some kind of solution to the problem that confronts all of our people. And tonight we are here to try and get an understanding of what it is they've come up with. Also, recently, when I was blessed to make a trip or a pilgrimage, a religious pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca, where I met many people from all over the world, plus spent many weeks in Africa, trying to broaden my own scope and get more of an open mind to look at the problem as it actually is. One of the things that I realized, and I realized this even before going over there, was that our African brothers have gained their independence faster than you and I here in America have. They've also gained recognition and respect as human beings much faster than you and I. Just 10 years ago on the African continent, our people were colonized. They were suffering all forms of colonization, oppression, exploitation, degradation, humiliation, discrimination, and every other kind of Asian. And in a short time, they have gained more independence, more recognition, more respect as human beings than you and I have. And you and I live in a country which is supposed to be the citadel of education, freedom, justice, democracy, and all of those other pretty sounding words. So it was our intention to try and find out what was our African brothers doing to get results so that you and I could study what they had done and perhaps gain from that study or benefit from their experiences. And my traveling over there was designed to help to find out how. One of the first things that the independent African nations did was to form an organization called the Organization of African Unity. The purpose of our organization of Afro-American Unity, which has the same aim and objective, to fight whoever gets in our way.
Please be reminded, Malcolm X was a Pan-Africanist, as his father was a Garveyite, his mother and father were Garveyite. So it would make sense that he was on the Pan-African movement. So when he's saying they had the he said out there they had the Organization of African Unity, he came out here to start the Organization of African American Unity. Mind you, if Malcolm had lived long enough, like a lot of our greats, I'm pretty sure that rhetoric would have changed. But obviously it didn't. But ultimately, if you hear him speak in Pan-Africanism, because that was one of the things that he believed in, like from a little kid, because he get it from his parents.
To bring about the complete independence of people of African descent here in the Western Hemisphere, and first here in the United States, and bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary. That's our motto. The purpose of our organization is to start right here in Harlem, which has the largest concentration of people of African descent that exists anywhere on this earth. There are more Africans here in Harlem than exist in any city on the African continent, because that's what you and I are, Africans. The Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Constitution of the United States, and the Bill of Rights are the principles in which we believe, and that these documents, if put into practice, represent the essence of mankind's hopes and good intentions, desirous that all Afro-American people and organizations should henceforth unite so that the welfare and well-being of our people will be assured. We are resolved to reinforce the common bond of purpose between our people by submerging all of our differences and establishing non-sectarian constructive programs for human rights. We hereby present this charter. Number one, the establishment. The Organization of Afro-American Unity shall include all people of African descent in the Western Hemisphere. In essence, what it is saying, instead of you and me running around here seeking allies in our struggle for freedom, in the Irish neighborhood or the Jewish neighborhood or the Italian neighborhood, we need to seek some allies among people who look something like we do. And once we get their allies, it's time out for you and me to stop running away from the wolf right into the arms of the fox, looking for some kind of help. That's a drag. Number two, self-defense. Since self-preservation is the first law of nature, we assert the Afro-Americans' right to self-defense. The Constitution of the United States of America clearly affirms the right of every American citizen to bear arms. And as Americans,
We will not give up a single right guaranteed under the Constitution. The history of unpunished violence against our people clearly indicates that we must be prepared to defend ourselves, or we will continue to be a defenseless people at the mercy of a ruthless and violent racist mob.
Now, I wanted to show that to y'all because when we watch even the movie of Malcolm X and stuff like that, we don't get the real, because first of all, it's a movie. So you're not going to get the real. You'll get some stuff, but it's going to be a lot of entertainment in these movies. Now, with Malcolm, when he took the trip to Mecca and he went to go out there to reflect, he found that there were Muslims that weren't all black. He also found that when he went out to Africa and Ghana and all that stuff, that they had black people out there. Mind you, in his mind, we're all African. We're all the same, even though we're not. Like I said, if time would have permitted, and maybe not in his day, but maybe. But if time had permitted, then I'm pretty sure he would have came to that conclusion, just like the brother Steve Coakley and a whole bunch of our other greats. But this is the thing. He was promoting us having allies with other African or black people, and I think that is a good idea. However, I think that when it comes to the trade and the currency between us and the other people in the African diaspora, we have the most currency, right? So I feel like for that, it needs to be protected, preserved, and valued before we even talk about doing anything. And this is even now today. But that has to happen before we even talk about any type of, allyship with other major so-called African nations, right? But I get what he was saying. In theory, what he's saying, it makes all the sense. It makes all the sense in the world. So it's not a bad thing. It's just that, again, if time had permitted itself, I'm pretty sure some of the rhetoric would have changed. But it's no secret that he was a Garveyite coming up. So he was all pro Pan-Africanism and all that stuff. And so the rhetoric doesn't surprise me. It's just when I realized that by any means necessary comes from this speech. And this is one of the first speeches that he gave from the OAAU. And I got a video, we're going to get into it. But this is one of the first speeches that he gave from the OAAU. I was like, wow. So it wasn't just him getting on his own and starting his own side of the Muslims, because he did. And mind you, a lot of people left and went to follow Malcolm. A lot of people left and went follow Malcolm. Not only that, Malcolm had so much of a gift for the gab. Malcolm could stand on the corner in the streets and preach on some Muslim crap and get crowds and crowds of black people who ain't even Muslims to listen to him. Some people just have it, okay? Some people just have it. Malcolm was one of those people who had it. Martin was one of those people who had it, okay? Some people just have it, some people don't. But ultimately, that's what in my opinion, that's what the nation grabbed him for anyway, because they needed him to be the mouthpiece to carry out whatever agenda it was they wanted him to carry out. But I don't think they bet on Malcolm really being his own mind and having his own way of thinking, okay? So yeah, that I wanted to show y'all that. Now we're gonna get into he was definitely a hustler. Listen, Malcolm was Detroit Red. He and Red Fox were like that. He was hanging out with Bumpy Johnson. That was his partner. Like, a lot of y'all don't know this, but Malcolm X was offered safety by Bumpy Johnson when the black Muslims, when the Nation of Islam took away their security from him. Bumpy Johnson was like, I will have my best dudes on you to secure you, and you won't have to worry about nothing, because they were still cool. But it turns out Malcolm was like, I get it and I appreciate it, but it's gonna look bad, because I'm gonna be out here to these brothers, preaching to these brothers about not falling into the ways of the man and not falling into this, that, and the third, and then I got gangsters protecting me. So he literally risked his protection in his life just for the strength of he didn't want to be talking out the side of both of his mouths, okay? So, yeah, he was in with everybody. He was cool with Sam Cooke. All of them was, listen, Malcolm was a brother of education, and he was a brother of sound, astute mind. But he still was Detroit Red. Yeah, he still was Detroit Red, okay? We can't forget that he is who he is, okay? But yeah, Malcolm was that dude. Malcolm was that boy. Like the people, yeah, Malcolm was that boy. But anyway, I want to get to this video. And this video that I got comes from this new channel. I just found it. And they have some pretty good stuff over there. Hold on. They have some pretty good stuff over there. It's called it's Black Culture Unlocked. I think we shared a video of theirs before. And the only reason I'm sharing this video is because they brought out some stuff that I didn't know about Malcolm. But this is called Malcolm's Last Months that no one told you about. So this is going to kind of go over the OAAU and a whole bunch of other stuff that was happening behind the scenes. And shout out to Black Culture Unlocked. This is a new channel that I found. I really, really like it. So if y'all can get over there and support. But I wanted to go over this documentary. Not really somewhat documentary. I wanted to go over this video to show y'all some of the things that we were never talked about when it comes down to the brother Malcolm X. So y'all get the likes up on the video and let's get started right here, right now.
Against Negroes in this country, Kennedy sits up there like Nero.
Malcolm X, a name that has tremendously affected African American history and has stood as a symbol of resistance, truth, and unyielding courage. Malcolm had a childhood that was synonymous with struggle and turbulence. Despite his tough childhood, he rose to become one of the most influential voices in the fight for Black liberation. During the mid-1960s, Malcolm X had transformed from a staunch advocate of separatism to a leader who promoted global unity against oppression and prejudice. The final months of his life before his demise would be characterized by betrayal, isolation, and a relentless struggle against the forces of racism and inequality.
Well, the exact I didn't leave, number one. I was put out, no matter. And since there was no justification for them putting me out, they had to make it appear to the public that I left of my own volition. But it was in February of 1963 that Wallace Muhammad, one of the sons of Elijah Muhammad, pointed out to me that his father had a very serious moral problem, which he had kept a careful secret up to that point. But that when I heard about it, I went directly to Elijah Muhammad. We discussed it. He explained it. He even admitted it to me, as well as to his some of his other children. He discussed it with his other children.
This is the story of Malcolm.
That's the part I said I didn't too particularly. I wish he didn't do, like as far as the expose. Even though I don't care about Elijah Muhammad, I really wish he hadn't done it like that. You know what I mean? Because that's when it became super messy. And now you're putting everybody in them folk business, even though I don't care about Elijah Muhammad, like literally at all. But ultimately, I think that's what kind of tipped the scale not in his favor. Okay. Lola says, Red Fox is from Chicago. Why did I really think he was from Cali? Girl, because you used to watch Sanford and Son. That's why. It was based out of LA. That's why I think San Francisco, LA. I think LA. That's why you thought he was from Cali, girl, because of Sanford and Son. All right, let's get back into the video, girl.
X's last months, a story of resilience even amid criticism, a quest for justice despite overwhelming opposition, and a legacy that was built in the face of unimaginable adversity.
It's the first week of June, nearly 2 weeks after George Floyd was killed during an arrest by a police officer. After days of protests, Washington, D.C. prepares for its biggest Black Lives Matter march yet.
Let's journey into the events that led to his tragic assassination as we honor his life and reflect on the lessons and legacy he left behind. Let's journey through the final chapter of a man who reshaped the fight for freedom forever. Malcolm X's association with the Nation of Islam contributed significantly to influencing his identity as a prominent Black leader. However, by 1964, their relationship began to shake and became irreparable. Malcolm's unwavering dedication—
Y'all saw the op back there? Did y'all see the op back there? Look, peep the op. Watch the op.
X's association with the Nation of Islam contributed significantly to influencing his identity as a prominent Black leader. However, By 1964,
who that is? Who this is? Who in the chat know who this is? This person admitted to having something to do with his assassination. Who that is? Y'all see the op on the end? On my left? There you go. Whole T, he wanted to be next in line. The whole time. The whole time. Yay. And he has admitted to having something to do with it. He hated Malcolm. I don't know if he hated him prior to, and maybe it was just jealous before. I don't know. But he hated him for how he outed Elijah Muhammad. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That was the op right there. I know we revere him so much today. Love you. I know we revere him so much today. Oh, he's so great. He's amazing. He's this, that, and the third. But back then, he was the op. Okay? Never forget that. Never, ever, ever forget that. So, yeah. But you got to be watching, man. Your enemies be closer to you than, you know.
their relationship began to shake and became irreparable. Malcolm's unwavering dedication to truth and justice collided with the internal politics and moral compromises within the organization. The cracks in their relationship began to get worse when Malcolm uncovered allegations of immoral behavior against Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam's leader. Elijah Muhammad, who was revered and respected by many as a prophetic figure, was accused of fathering children with multiple young secretaries. For Malcolm, who was a man of deep moral convictions, these allegations were both shocking and deeply unbelievable. During some interviews, Malcolm made a statement, "I'd rather walk alone than follow a man I know is not right." This scenario challenged his loyalty and also forced him to confront the hypocrisy he saw within the organization. Following Malcolm's controversial comment on President John F. Kennedy's assassination in November 1963, the tension became more severe. His remark, "Chickens coming home to roost," was perceived as callous and sparked outrage all over the nation. The Nation of Islam distanced itself from Malcolm by enforcing a public silence on him. At this point, they had sidelined one of their most vocal and effective spokespeople. In March 1964, Malcolm officially announced his departure publicly from the Nation of Islam.
I don't mean to keep stopping, but you know what this made me think of? If Louis Farrakhan is still here, can y'all imagine a world where Malcolm X still exists? He could still very much so be here. Like, think about it. If not here, like recently, have just passed recently, he could have very well be here in 2025. Like, if we could go back and change the hands of time, we would switch them out. But just imagine a world where Malcolm X never died and he's still here old like the minister. That's crazy. And I know he would have evolved like crazy. I know his intellect, his literature and all that stuff would have evolved insanely. I know it would have. I just was thinking about that, seeing him in that picture.
He organized a press conference where he declared, "I am still a Muslim. My religion is Islam. I have decided to remain true to my religion, but I can no longer remain in the Nation of Islam." His decision marked a critical turning point as he began to articulate a vision of Black empowerment that extended beyond the confines of the Nation of Islam.
They had to make it appear to the public that I left of my own volition. But it was in February of 1963 that Wallace Muhammad, one of the sons of Elijah Muhammad, pointed out to me that his father had a very serious moral problem, which he had kept a careful secret up to that point. But that when I heard about it, I went directly to Elijah Muhammad. We discussed it. He explained it. He even admitted it to me, as well as to his some of his other children. He discussed it with his other children.
Malcolm's separation from the Nation of Islam wasn't void of consequences. He was faced with relentless criticism from former allies, and death threats became a reality he had to live with. In a certain interview, he stated, "I know that I'm a marked man. The price of truth is often very high." The isolation weighed heavily on Malcolm, yet he remained steadfast and dedicated in his commitment to justice. Despite the personal and professional toll, Malcolm's decision to leave the Nation of Islam liberated him to pursue a wider and more inclusive vision. His departure laid the foundation for the establishment of his organizations and a more global approach to fighting against racial oppression.
There's been great publicity given to the fact that heavyweight champion Cassius Clay is one of your followers. Do you think he's a sincere follower?
Well, Cassius is following Elijah Muhammad, and I'm no longer a follower of Elijah Muhammad myself. I do believe that Cassius is sincere in what he has been doing. I was with him during the 9 days, I think, when he was training for the list and fight, and he seemed very sincere. Whether he has understanding to equal his sincerity is another thing.
Why did you?
That speaks volumes. What he's saying is he believed that Malcolm X really believes in the nation, and he really is sincere in what he believes. It's just that he says Muhammad Ali was uninformed. And he didn't say he was. He was like, he thinks perhaps, maybe at most, he's uninformed, meaning he's running. Because remember, I showed y'all this about Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is named after one of the aliases of Master Farad. Remember, he had like 1,000 aliases. One of those aliases for Master Farad was Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was the golden child. We talked about this, taken under the wing of Elijah Muhammad and Master Farad. His wife was Master Farad's adopted granddaughter. We talked about this. So what Malcolm is saying is, I don't question his sincerity. I was with him. I think that he really believes what he believes. My issue with Muhammad Ali is I don't think that he's informed. I think he's ill-informed. And that's what the biggest thing was. He was misguided. Because remember, him and Muhammad Ali came up like this too. But whenever the split happened, Muhammad Ali went with Elijah Muhammad. He went with Elijah Muhammad and threw Malcolm to the wayside. Okay? So keep that in mind. And I also always found it crazy that the son go drop the dime in Malcolm's ear just to put the battery in Malcolm X's back. I didn't like that. I think that was done on purpose. I think there's a whole conspiracy behind that whole thing too. Because the son mad with the daddy. Now you go tell Malcolm go tell everybody that your daddy is a perv. And now you and your daddy be cool. Like, and then Malcolm's own brother was a lie. It was a lie. Poor Malcolm.
Fallout with Elijah Muhammad.
Well, some internal disagreements and differences that I would rather not go into, but I think that it will come out in public before long.
These were personal differences?
Well, for one thing, I believe in the religion of Islam, and I went to Mecca recently to get a better understanding of it. And I think that the Black Muslim movement itself, if it doesn't adopt the Sunni practice of Islam, the Orthodox practice of Islam, that it will disintegrate and fall apart.
After parting ways with the Nation of Islam in March 1964, Malcolm X's next steps played a significant role in influencing the legacy he left behind. His disillusionment with the NOI's leadership and his desire to embrace a new course for Black empowerment led to the creation of two significant organizations, the Muslim Mosque Inc. MMI, and the Organization of Afro-American Unity, OAAU. Malcolm's first initiative was the founding of the Muslim Mosque Inc., a religious organization aimed at offering a platform for Orthodox Islam outside the constraints of the Nation of Islam. Malcolm envisioned MMI as a community where spiritual growth could be harmonized with the fight for justice.
We then want to offer and explain the solution that God has given to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is complete separation and immediate separation of the slave master and his slave. And as Muslims here in America, we regard the condition of the Black man here as modern slavery. We don't look upon anything that was done by Lincoln and those people back there as having any effect upon the condition of freedom or enslavement that the Black people experienced in those days and times.
Unlike the Nation of Islam, which embraced separatism, MMI was focused on connecting Black Americans with the broader global Muslim community. Malcolm's global outreach began to take shape as he forged ties with Muslim leaders across Africa and the Middle East. showing emphasis on the universality of the Islamic faith. While the Muslim Mosque, Inc. focused on spiritual transformation, Malcolm's larger vision of Black liberation required a political counterpart. The Organization of Afro-American Unity, or OAAU, which he launched in June 1964. This was inspired by the Pan-Africanist movements that swept across Africa. Malcolm envisioned the OAAU as an avenue to unite Black Americans in their pursuit of freedom and dignity. Drawing from leaders like Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah and Congo's Patrice Lumumba, Malcolm's OAAU was focused on promoting solidarity between Black Americans and oppressed peoples worldwide. OAAU had some specific core goals, which included self-determination. The OAAU was specifically intentional about the importance of Black Americans taking control of their political, economic, and cultural futures. Malcolm described self-determination as the foundation of freedom, stating, "We must stop depending on others to define who we are. We must build institutions that reflect our identity and power." Cultural pride is another core goal of the OAAU. Preserving the pride of the culture is a key tenet of the OAAU. It aims at restoring the pride in African heritage. Malcolm believed that education and enlightenment on the history of Africa and its culture played a vital role in dismantling the psychological effects of white supremacy. Another core goal is global solidarity. Malcolm's travels abroad reignited his belief that the struggle for Black liberation in the U.S. was part of a global fight against oppression and prejudice. The OAAU worked to build international alliances with African nations and other independence movements. Education and empowerment is another major goal of the OAAU. The OAAU gave adequate priority to community education programs and sought ways to equip Black Americans with the tools and knowledge to challenge systemic racism and inequality.
The purpose of our Organization of Afro-American Unity, which has the same aim and objective, to fight whoever gets in our way. To bring about the complete independence of people of African descent here in the Western Hemisphere, and first here in the United States, and bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary.
Regardless of his vision, the path forward was filled with challenges. Both MMI and OAAU struggled with limited resources and constant surveillance. The narrative wasn't a very pleasant one for them. The FBI's COINTELPRO program worked relentlessly to water down Malcolm's efforts, and also monitored his every move and infiltrated his organizations. The criticism Malcolm faced from both external forces and former allies within the Nation of Islam was unimaginable. Yet he remained persistent and pressed forward, understanding that the stakes were too high to back down. Though Malcolm's life was cut short less than a year after the establishment of these organizations, their impact was still felt for a long time, even today. MMI and OAAU embodied his transformation into a global thinker, someone whose ideas went beyond borders and inspired future generations of activists. Through the Muslim Mosque, Inc. and the Organization of Afro-American Unity, Malcolm X left behind a blueprint for resistance and empowerment that remains profoundly significant, even in this present dispensation. In April 1964, Malcolm X went on a journey that would transform his worldview and restructure his fight for justice. His pilgrimage to Mecca, which is prominently known as the Hajj, marked a spiritual and ideological turning point that broadened his perspective from a national struggle to an international fight for human rights.
And I just wanted to stop and say this for purpose of commentary, and also because I was thinking about it. But I just wanted to stop and say this. He was infiltrated so bad. And I think that's another thing that a lot of Black people are afraid to go up and do. A lot of Black people are afraid to get engaged in something very meaningful for the people for a few reasons. But one of those main reasons are because we're afraid of being infiltrated. Okay. All they have to do is pay somebody who look like us, somebody closest to us who need money, who are broken poor, and they're going to do whatever it is to get that money. And even if that means taking you out, taking out your family, things of that nature. And I think that, like I said, Malcolm had a lot of people around him. One of his security guards came and told him, hey, I was sent by Elijah Muhammad to kill you. You know what I'm saying? And he ended up forgiving the brother and allowing him to still work on his team. But it's the divide and conquer thing, and the way that they've been able to leverage us against each other since the beginning of time, since they got off the boat and came here. That's how they've been so successful. They've been able to leverage things against us that because we don't have, you know what I'm saying, resources. And that's why they keep Black Americans in a state of need, because when they need you to do something, they have an easy way to get right to you and get it from you. And it just sucked that he had all them infiltrators around him. And he was just really trying to find his way. He really and truly was trying to find his way and just couldn't. And it just sucked, because just like the Black Panther Party and everything else we ever did, they always got somebody infiltrating the damn movement. And this is why treason needs to be brought back into play. Oh yes, we need to start trying Negroes under treason. I told y'all that.
Malcolm, the Hajj was beyond.
Y'all get the likes up on the video, please, and thank you.
It was also a deeply personal quest to satisfy his curiosity and for truth. Leaving behind the controversies and betrayals of his past, he sought solace and clarity in the spiritual heart of Islam. Malcolm later described his arrival in Mecca as overwhelming, stating, "For the first time in my life, I stood before the Creator of all and felt the oneness of humanity. It was a humbling and life-altering experience."
Never have I witnessed such sincere hospitality and overwhelming spirit of true brotherhood as it is practiced by the people of all colors and races here in the ancient Holy Land, the home of Abraham, Muhammad, and all the other prophets of the Holy Scriptures. For the past week, I have been utterly speechless and spellbound by the graciousness I see displayed all around me by people of all colors.
One of the most significant revelations Malcolm experienced during the Hajj was the realization that Islam did not belong to a particular race. Witnessing Muslims of all colors and nationalities worshiping together dismantled his belief in the inherent division between races. He said, "In my 39 years on this earth, the Hajj has been the most transformative event of my life. In Mecca, I saw people whose skin was the whitest of white, and others whose skin was the blackest of black, all united as one. This experience made me see racism as a disease, not of the skin, but of the soul." During his Hajj, Malcolm wrote a letter home to friends and supporters, narrating his transformation. He wrote, "Never have I witnessed such sincere hospitality and overwhelming spirit of true brotherhood as is practiced by people of all colors and races here in this ancient Holy Land." This new understanding of equality inspired Malcolm to adopt a more inclusive approach in his activism.
I'm so glad you said this, son, because this is very important. And this is what I be trying to tell people when I speak about religion, and people automatically tie it to God. In 2024, this is so important. Son says he actually became a Muslim and not of the nation. Those are two different things. Listen, it's the same thing we had a conversation the other day about over here. When I speak about not trusting pastors and not liking churches, those things can be mutually exclusive with God, but they don't necessarily have to be. And that's what Malcolm X was. And that's why he was that anomaly, because he wasn't loyal to Elijah Muhammad. He wasn't loyal to the mosque. He was loyal to the Most High. And because of that, it was easier for him to have his own mind, make his own decisions, and say, you know what? I ain't rocking with that. Y'all on some weird shit over here. Let me go continue my journey. But this is what happens in religion right now in 25, I'm sorry. People say that they are praising God. They say that they're praising the Most High, but they really be praising and worshiping them pastors and them churches. If you can't separate the man behind the pulpit from God, then that's probably one of the situations that you're under. And it's not about saying that they can't exist in the same situation, because they absolutely can. They absolutely can. It's very rare where they exist and it makes sense, but they absolutely can. But you should, if you are really, if people in nowadays were really followers of Christ or followers of God, like they say that they are, then it would be irrespective of what church, who preaching, and all of that. None of that will have anything to do with their faith. And that's why a lot of people, you ever know if you go to a church for a long period of time, then you stop, then people are like, ooh, you finally back at church, how they go to judgment, because they feel like God is inside of that building, and he's not. You get it? So I love that you said that. He was a follower of the Most High, not Elijah Muhammad like the rest of these fools. Okay? That was so important to say. Right. Wouldn't be no mega churches. Wouldn't be none of this. Wouldn't be none of this. You know what else there wouldn't be? Celebrity worship. There wouldn't be celebrity worship like we have today. People aren't even fans of the art. Like for me, I'm a fan of the art. I'm not a fan of the person. I don't give a damn about the person, but the art I'm a fan of. People now are a fan of the people, and that's why the art is so sucky, because all they care about is the person. So yeah, there wouldn't be celebrity worship, wouldn't be no mega churches, wouldn't be a whole bunch of stuff if a lot of us, or at least a third of us, had the mindset of Brother Malcolm.
He was no longer bound by the separatist ideology of the Nation of Islam. He began advocating for a universal struggle against oppression. His interactions with leaders in the Muslim world exposed him to anti-colonial struggles and the importance of bringing people from around the world who are oppressed together. His time in Mecca and subsequent travels to Africa and the Middle East strengthened his belief that Black Americans' struggle was interconnected with liberation movements across the globe. In Malcolm's words, "The fight against injustice is not confined to America. It is a fight for the freedom of all oppressed people, regardless of their skin color or where they live." When Malcolm X returned to the United States, he adopted the name El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, which signifies his new identity as a reformed man and leader. His speeches took on a more global tone, emphasized human rights over civil rights, and appealed to the United Nations to hold America accountable for its racial injustices. His transformation did not mean...
That's huge. So what Malcolm was doing was, hey, I'm going around the middleman. That's America. I'm going to the UN. See, these are all things that put the target on his back. Malcolm was like, all right, bet. We're going to leave the focus off of American civil rights. And what we're going to do is go around the president and all y'all, go straight to the UN and tell the UN they need to hold y'all accountable for what they're doing to Black Americans in America. Things like that put a target on your back. He was doing too much. He was making too many major moves. They was like, oh no, you doing the most, bruh. You got to go. I remember somebody came on Tariq Nasheed channel and was talking about reparations, and they said, Tariq, why don't you take it to the UN? And that's a valid question. If, first of all, genealogy would have to be done on Black people who asking for reparations through slavery, right? But neither here nor there. Let's say everybody had their genealogy done. What the man came on there asking him was, hey, Tariq, I see y'all go to Washington annually, semi-annually, whatever, that's cool. But y'all do know going march down there in DC is really not going to do anything. Why not take your fight to the UN? And listen, we not a solidified nation, but he already come up with the name FBA and he got a flag. He's halfway there. The only other thing he needs is a doggone army, a militia or something. He's halfway there with the name and the flag. He has an FBA flag and he has a name. So it makes sense for the person to be like, why don't you take it to the UN? And he was like, no. And see, I think Tariq is funny. I think he holds great spaces, but I ain't gonna lie, he be giving me Agent T sometime too, because it's like, why would you shoot that down? That's a real thing. And he knows this. Now, maybe he don't want to go because he don't want a target on his back. I don't know. And if that's the case, I understand. But to act like that wasn't a good idea and carry people down there to march on Washington every doggone year for nothing, getting nothing out of it, I think that's where I part ways. But nevertheless, listen, Malcolm X was not dealing with America. Malcolm X went around that middleman and went straight up to the UN. He went straight up to the UN. And this is one of the reasons why he got popped up out of here. And I believe that the FBI allowed the Nation of Islam to do it and turn their backs. It was a win-win for them. They don't have to have the blood on their hands. Plus the Nation of Islam, plus they can get rid of Malcolm, and the Nation of Islam can get rid of him too. And then put Farrakhan up there shortly after Elijah Muhammad dies and his son takes over.
Abandoning the fight against racism in America. Instead, it gave more depth to his understanding of how interconnected struggles for justice truly were.
Malcolm X. I think a lot of people are confused by the new Arabic name, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz.
I've always had the name on my passport, Malik El-Shabazz, I only used it in the Muslim world. Well, Hajj is a title that is given to any Muslim who makes the pilgrimage to Mecca during the official Hajj season.
While Malcolm returned from the Hajj with a renewed sense of purpose, the hostility he experienced.
I want to address this. So, somebody says why we need genealogy when we have social security numbers. Social security numbers are nothing. You definitely need genealogy. If you understand genealogy, V.M. Bird, that's how you say your name. If you understand genealogy, then you understand it's your lineage. It's a way to prove that whatever ancestor that they're fighting for, saying that they fell under slavery, that would be the person. You do your genealogy and say, this was my mama, this was her mama, this was her mama, her mama, her mama. This mama right here was the one that was enslaved in South Carolina at the tobacco field. I'm just using it. You know what I mean? That's how you would be able to even have a fight or even a conversation for reparations. Social security numbers don't mean nothing. Yeah. Social security numbers don't mean absolutely nothing. That they're pointless. That's just to count for you for who you are. And from what I'm hearing, they be recycling those too. Yeah, that don't mean nothing. You need genealogy to be able to prove this slavery. Because listen, I tell y'all this all the time. All black people wasn't slaves. I know it's a shocker, but all black people wasn't slaves. It's a fact. All black people were not slaves. Unfortunately. Well, no, fortunately, but you know.
Also became more intense. His inclusive approach alienated some of his former allies, while government surveillance intensified. Despite these threats, Malcolm remained steadfast and relentless in his pursuit. He believed that his transformation was not just personal, but necessary for the broader struggle. He said, "I am for truth, no matter who tells it. I am for justice, no matter who it is for or against. I am a human being first and foremost, and as such, I am for whoever and whatever benefits humanity as a whole." The Hajj marked the beginning of a new Malcolm X, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, whose mission extended beyond the borders of America. His transformation during this journey was a demonstration of the power of faith, unity, and a relentless commitment to justice.
If I recall, I'm pointed out that while I was at Mecca making the pilgrimage, I spoke about the brotherhood that existed at all levels and among all people who were there on that Hajj, who had accepted the religion of Islam. And I pointed out that for what it had done, what the religion of Islam had done for those people over there, despite their complexion differences.
As Malcolm X's voice became more influential and his message more unifying, it became clear he was not only fighting for Black liberation in America, but also for global human rights. This made him a target for detractors within the Nation of Islam, and also for powerful entities determined to silence him. Malcolm X had always been under the watchful eye of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Under its notorious COINTELPRO program, the FBI sought to monitor, discredit, and disrupt leaders it deemed a threat to the status quo. Malcolm, his fiery speeches, and growing international alliances became high on their list. Agents infiltrated his speeches, tapped his phones, and tracked his movements. Some reports even narrate how the FBI attempted to sow discord between Malcolm and the Nation of Islam by sending anonymous letters and spreading false rumors that would destroy his reputation. Malcolm X confessed, "I know they're watching me. I know my life is constantly under surveillance, but it doesn't scare me. It only makes me more determined to tell the truth. As Malcolm's ideology shifted toward inclusivity and global solidarity, his list of enemies began to increase also. Death threats became a part of his daily life. Many came from former Nation of Islam associates who perceived his departure as a betrayal. In a 1964 interview, Malcolm clearly said, "I'm probably a dead man already, but I'd rather die for the truth than live a lie."
I probably am a dead man already.
On February 14, 1965, just a week before Malcolm's assassination, his home in Queens, New York, was firebombed in the middle of the night. He, his wife Betty, and their 4 young daughters narrowly escaped with their lives in their hands. We don't advocate violence, but we do believe in self-defense. My family and I were attacked because I refused to be silenced, he said. In the early 1965, Malcolm X was standing alone. Friends and allies had distanced themselves from him out of fear or disagreement with his evolving views. Former Nation of Islam members painted him as a traitor, while government forces worked to isolate him further. In one of his statements, he said, "It is a lonely road to walk when you speak the truth, but it is the only road I know." Oftentimes, Malcolm spoke about his awareness of the danger he faced. He knew his life was at risk, but this awareness didn't make him enter into his shell. Instead, it emboldened him to make his final speeches some of his most impactful. "I live as a man prepared to die at any moment. They can take my life, but they cannot take the truth I've spoken or the movement I've inspired." Malcolm X's final months were characterized by relentless threats and ceaseless surveillance. Yet, he remained steadfast and refused to let fear dictate his actions. His ability to persevere in the face of mounting hostility laid his legacy solid as a fearless leader who prioritized justice over personal safety. In the final months of his life, Malcolm X's speeches took on a new tone. It became one of urgency, global solidarity, and a profound understanding of his mortality. He knew the forces were against him, yet he refused to be silent. His speeches made him one of the most fearless voices in the fight for racial justice and human rights. While he still fiercely advocated for the liberation of Black people in America, his experiences abroad and his profound understanding of Islam had given him a wider perspective. In his groundbreaking speech, "Not Just an American Problem, but a World Problem," which he delivered on February 15, 1965, Malcolm highlighted the global dimensions of racial oppression. He declared, "The plight of the Black man in America is linked to the struggles of oppressed people worldwide. This is not just a civil rights issue, it is a human rights issue." Unity became a central theme in Malcolm's final speeches. He emphasized the need for collaboration among oppressed groups to challenge systemic injustice. In January 1965, he said, "We cannot fight for freedom in isolation. The oppressed must come together. Black, brown, yellow, and all who seek justice must unite against the common enemy." Malcolm's
This is another tactic that the Black Panthers adopted. The Black Panthers, toward the end of their situation, they had their own free breakfast program, their own whole situation. But with the Black Panther, Huey P. Newton and the young brother who was killed, what they were doing was they decided to go get all the poor Asians, all the poor clears, all the poor Negroes, all the poor Hispanics, and they said, "Look, I hate you, you hate me. That's fine, but we need to come together for a common good and go against this system." Fred Hampton, thank you, Meek. That's what they did. Same thing Malcolm did. It was a lot of things. There are certain things that the government don't want you to do. And if they even think that you're doing anything like that, they got to get you up out of there, because those are avenues that could really bring about change. And when he started getting all the poor people together, instead of being on some, "Oh, I hate everybody who's not Black," I think that's one of the things that put a target on his back as well, because now you're moving in unison where the numbers are greater and it's not just you. We can't just say you the Black radical person, because now you got the clears, the Hispanics, the yellows, and all these other people. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things to make you a marked man. And that's why I was saying with Tariq Nasheed, maybe he don't want to do that, so he don't become a marked man. And if so, I understand. But I just found it odd that he still take them people down there to march in DC at least give it to somebody else and be like, yo, let's do something this. You know what I mean? Like, go down to the UN, because that's where you have to go. That's literally where you have to go.
Speeches during this time were also deeply introspective. He openly acknowledged the dangers he faced and spoke of his willingness to sacrifice for the cause. In one of his last public appearances, he poignantly stated, "I have seen the handwriting on the wall, but if I can die knowing that I have done everything in my power to expose the truth, then my life will have been worth it." The Audubon Ballroom that took place in Harlem became the backdrop for some of Malcolm's final and most impassioned speeches. As he stood before diverse crowds, he spoke plainly about systemic oppression, the need for self-determination, and his hope for a better future. One of his most notable lines during this period was, "They may kill me for what I say, but they cannot kill the truth. The truth is eternal, and it will outlive all who seek to suppress it. I believe that the truth will set us free, not just Black people, but all people who have been oppressed. We must fight not with hatred, but with intelligence and unity." The urgency in Malcolm's final speeches was a testament to his enduring commitment to justice. His words, spoken with unyielding passion, continue to resonate across generations, reminding us that the fight for equality is far from being over. His voice may have been silenced, but his message remains a beacon for all who seek justice, equality, and truth. The morning of February 21st, 1965, was like any other morning for Malcolm X. But this day would forever be remembered in history as the tragic end of one of the most courageous voices in the fight for Black liberation. It was a Sunday, and Malcolm was scheduled to speak at the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem, where his organization, the Organization of Afro-American Unity, OAAU, regularly held their meetings. The Audubon Ballroom was bustling with energy as over 400 people gathered to hear Malcolm X speak. In the crowd were supporters, community members, and families. A large number of them were drawn by Malcolm's message of empowerment and resistance. Despite the growing threats to his life, Malcolm had no intention of canceling the event. "I don't worry about being a marked man. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die standing up for what I believe in." Those were the words he spoke. Malcolm arrived at the Audubon Ballroom shortly after 2 p.m. Accompanied by his security detail and a small group of close associates, he appeared calm but focused. Witnesses recall him greeting attendees and spending a moment with his wife, Betty Shabazz, and their 4 daughters, who were present that day. While the meeting began, Benjamin Goodman, one of Malcolm's aides, stepped to the podium to address the...
I'm not sure. But Tiffany says, did Malcolm have a Freemason symbol on his ring? I'll have to look into that, but let me tell you why it wouldn't surprise me if he did. Because a lot of the Freemasons, it was the Freemasons who started this whole Nation of Islam crap that we know of today. Master Farrakhan was a clear man acting as he was Black inside of the Freemasons, and they started this whole Black Muslim movement. Okay? So it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't. It would hurt me, but it wouldn't surprise me because I understand that there's a whole connection there. There's a connection there with the Freemasons and the Black Muslims. So it would not surprise me one bit if he was a Freemason, like at all. But that's a good question. It's a good find. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Crowd. Some moments later, Malcolm took the stage to deliver what would become his final words. When Malcolm began to speak, chaos erupted. A commotion in the back of the ballroom distracted the audience. This was a calculated plot to create confusion. Suddenly, a loud sound of gunfire erupted. Malcolm X was struck multiple times and then collapsed onto the stage as pandemonium broke out. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic, with people running for cover while others rushed to Malcolm's aid. He was rushed to the nearest hospital, but at the time it was too late. At just 39 years old, one of the most transformative figures in American history was clinically declared dead.
Also, too, the star and crescent moon is a symbol for the nation. It's crazy. Somebody put it in the chat with Young Pharaoh. Young Pharaoh broke that down years ago. Listen. The star in the crescent moon is the Freemason and the Nation of Islam's or the Black Muslim movement symbol. So I'm just saying it could be connected to the Freemasons, or it could be him just, with the nation. Yes, Shriner symbol, yes, all of that. All them people come from under the same umbrella. Prince Hall, Grand Lodge, Freemasonry. That's why all y'all pastors and preachers, they have either some sort of D9 affiliation, Freemasons affiliation. They all wear the purple. All of that, listen, all of that comes from under the same umbrella. I don't care what color you are. All of it comes from under the same color. All of that comes from under the Freemasons. So that's a dive, and we kind of went into it a little bit when we talked about the Nation of Islam. But yeah, they all religion, all of that stuff come from under the Freemason umbrella. So take that information and do it as you please, but start to pay attention to your pastors and your preachers in the Christianity organizations. They are all affiliated with Divine Nine and or Boule Freemasonry. Period. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. I mean, you already really know, but ask yourself why anyway.
The news of Malcolm's assassination spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through the Black community and beyond. Many were left struggling with the loss of a man who had risked everything to speak truth to power. 3 men were quickly arrested and charged with Malcolm's murder. Talmadge Hayer, Norman 3X Butler, and Thomas...
Wait, we'll come back to the guys charged with the murder. Black Top ass 40 says that the Prince Hall Lodge is next to the mosque in Boston. You know what's crazy? First of all, I believe you 1,000,000,000% because, like I said, they all connected. This what made me want to look into what's that lady name? Girl, I loved her too. But this what made me want to look into the black lady who was helping with the voters movement down in the South. Put her name in the chat, y'all. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I can see her face. She walked in and said, from Indianola, Mississippi. Girl, I hate my brain and why it does this. Somebody gonna put it in there. Y'all always have my back because my brain goes to scrambling like eggs. But the black lady from Mississippi who started and helped out with that big Fannie Lou. Thank you, son. Thank you. Fannie Lou Hamer was married to a Freemason, a Prince Hall Freemason. And they would have their voters meetings at the lodge. Not only that, I found out Fannie Lou was also inducted into the Divine Nine organization, but she was also an Eastern Star. Listen, bruh. Listen to me. Listen, Linda. Linda. They are all connected. Now, do I think everybody that's connected knows exactly what's going on? No, obviously not. But they all got some sort of everything goes back to Freemasons. Man, everything that you know as far as institutional wise goes back to the Boule or the Freemasons. The majority of it is going to go back to the Freemasons. Okay? And I told y'all this before. I got a cousin that's a Mason. We got family that's in the Freemason Eastern Stars. They don't know what the hell going on. They just regular people in the organization. So don't charge it to the game, not to their heart. They don't know. Just like D9 organization. Most of your people stomping on the yard with a D9, they don't know what they really done joined, girl. They just there. So charge it. But there is a subgroup inside of this subgroup that knows exactly what's happening. And those are the key players. A very, very small group. But everything goes back to Freemasons. Everything. Secret society. We did a video on that too before. Everything go back to Freemasonry. Everything. Remember, the black ones were Prince Hall. The clear ones was Grand Lodge. Okay? Now, it's said in the past that the clear people didn't allow the black people in, so they created the Prince Hall Freemasonry. But you know, history is always told in reverse, because these are the facts. Freemasonry was practiced in the America long before them folk even got here. Live for a whole nother day. All religion, all places that y'all see, all of that was here in America long before them folk even got here. But that's a whole nother live for a whole nother day, a whole nother situation. But I'm telling you, most of your stuff, if not everything you know institutional wise, gonna go back to the Freemasons. Okay, so yeah, it's crazy. But now we get into the people who unalive Malcolm. We're gonna let this finish out, and I want to show y'all a couple of more clips.
Thomas Johnson. However, questions regarding the true planners of the assassination have lasted for decades. Many believe that Malcolm's death was the result of a broader conspiracy involving not only a group of people within the Nation of Islam, but also the FBI and NYPD, who had surveilled him relentlessly. Declassified documents have revealed extensive efforts by COINTELPRO to undermine Malcolm's influence. Malcolm X's assassination was a devastating blow to the civil rights movement. Yet, in his death, his message became even stronger. He became a martyr for justice. His life and words live on today and inspiring generations to come. If I can die having exposed the lies and uplifted my people, then my life's work will not have been in vain. Though his voice was silenced, Malcolm X's truth echoes louder than ever, reminding us all of the power of conviction and the cost of courage. His family, friends, and allies found it difficult to accept the loss of a man who had dedicated his life to speaking truth to power and fighting for the rights of the oppressed. In Harlem, where he had been a regular patron, mourners filled the streets and tributes became countless. His widow, Betty Shabazz, struggled to comprehend the brutality of the moment. Just as the Nation of Islam, the FBI, and various political forces were left to reflect on his complex legacy. While some mourned, others felt a grim sense of relief, as Malcolm's unflinching commitment to the truth had earned him as many enemies as followers. Yet Malcolm's influence was undeniable, even in death. His message of Black empowerment, self-determination, and unity was far beyond national borders and continues to inspire movements today. His philosophy of fighting injustice through both nonviolence and resistance has been a guidepost for countless generations, from the civil rights movement to Black Lives Matter. Today, the struggle for racial justice, equality, and human rights carries on, with Malcolm's name echoed as a beacon of solid courage. In recent protests, Malcolm's image appears on signs and banners. His quotes continue to be quoted in speeches, in schools, and on social media. He did not only challenge the physical chains of racism, but also the mental and ideological ones that limit the possibilities for Black people worldwide. Malcolm X was more than just a leader. He was a symbol of resilience, courage, and unwavering commitment to justice. You don't have to be a man to fight for freedom. All you have to do is be an intelligent human being. Drop a heart emoji in the...
There was another documentary that showed how the Nation of Islam, the men who were convicted of unaliving Malcolm. There was another documentary that showed how this reporter was trying to get interviews with either them or people in the nation. And do you know those people were mum's the word? Nobody would. They were all like the whole nation was all sworn to never bring that up. Speaking of enemies and not bringing it up, okay. I want to get into the honorable Minister Lewis. What car you gonna drive, Lewis? What ID you gonna use, Lewis? That Lewis. I want to get into. Hold on, let me get this picture up here because I want y'all to see. They say keep your enemies close, keep your friends closer, and your enemies closer. Hold on, was he over here? No. I want to get old Lou up here because what people don't understand is your enemy be sitting right at your footstool, right next to you. You don't even know it. If it was a snake, it would have bit you. You know what I'm saying? I thought I could find that picture where he was sitting next to Farrakhan. Let me see. I don't think it was this far up. No, I don't think it was this far up, but I want to say it was toward the beginning. Hold on. Y'all get the likes up on the video. So Malcolm had enemies all around him. Remember they talked about this COINTELPRO and da, right? Mind you, everybody's vying for the attention of this bald head Negro here. Let me get
Elijah Muhammad, who was
him. Everybody is vying for the attention of this bald head half breed, okay? Because that's what he was. That's what he was, a bald head half breed. I grew up in the South. We don't give a damn about no Muslims and all of that. So I can say what I got to say and not feel no way about it. We don't in the South. We used to worship clear Jesus. We don't give a damn about no Muslim, no Elijah, no Master Farrakhan, no none of that. Okay, we don't care. We don't care. Okay, now they got a couple of Negroes in the South. They be out there selling their little bean pies or whatever the case may be, doing their little 1-2 yink yink. And you know we look at them like they crazy too, but we just leave them be. Because them niggas be out there talking about they don't eat pork, but they out here eating pussy. You know what I'm saying? But that's a story for a whole nother day. Catch them on a good Saturday, you can get them down to the Waffle House and they're going to be ordering a bacon, egg, and cheese. But that's neither here nor there. Them some fake Muslims. We ain't really talking about them. But look, everybody was vying for the attention of this half-breed. They knew that he was the second coming to God in his words, which was who, guys, boys and girls? Master Farrakhan, right? Who had the aliases of many, many different names, one of which was Muhammad Ali, which was named as Cassius Clay Muhammad Ali later on down the line by him. And he said he got the name from God. And guess who's God to him? We talked about it. Guess who's God to Elijah Muhammad? Master Farrakhan, a clear man, okay? So boom. It's Louis Farrakhan, it's the son, and his brother Malcolm. I'm setting it up for y'all, okay? Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm, and the son. All three of them could be next up. But Elijah Muhammad only wants Malcolm. That's his bread and butter. Louis Farrakhan, he was straight, but he didn't have the je ne sais quoi and the it factor that Malcolm X had. Now, in my opinion, I believe he probably would have put Louis probably at number 2 if he didn't give a damn about his son. But ultimately, Malcolm was the one that he wanted up next. If Malcolm had not exposed Elijah Muhammad and had not made the comment about the chickens coming home to roost, I believe that things would have went according to plan and it would have worked just the way it was supposed to work, according to this man who says God was Master Farrakhan, which was a clear criminal, because he was a criminal as clear. Okay? Neither here nor there. So look, boom. Malcolm tears his draws with Elijah Muhammad. Now, Elijah Muhammad on his way out the door, he old, tied, and through. So the son is going to automatically get the reins because, I mean, he the next up in line. Well, later on down the line, brother Louis Farrakhan ends up acting like he was cool with the son and ended up taking the whole nation from him altogether. But before we get into that, it was said on many occasions that brother minister Louis Farrakhan had something to do with the assassination of brother Malcolm. Okay? Now let's get into this first clip. Now, mind you, he was sitting right next to the brother, acting as if he was his friend. Oh, we're all in this one umbrella group. But the moment Malcolm went against Elijah Muhammad, Muhammad Ali as well, but a lot of them wanted him dead, including Muhammad Ali, because that was their God. How dare you speak ill of our God? They wanted his head off his shoulders. Now, it has been said that the FBI knew about them doing this assassination, and it was said that also the FBI said, well, you know what? That's between y'all. We just gonna act like we looking over here, do what you gotta do. Because mind you, Malcolm has got too many irons in the pot. He over there dragging the Nation of Islam, and he taking a whole bunch of their people. So they got their beef with him. And this Negro is going around to the UN to talk about economic rights and also talk about all type of stuff that America is doing to Black Americans, right? Nigga say, why would God have asthma? I don't know. But look, so he's making noise on both ends, right? So the FBI looking like, we got to get rid of this nigga. Like, for real, we got to get rid of this nigga because he gonna mess around and throw a wrench in our shit. And then the nation like, we hate this nigga because of what he's doing to our God. Let's get into Mr. Minister Farrakhan over here talking about how, he had to get him up out of here. Oh yeah, see, and again, people don't want to bring this up. The same thing happened to the brother, dark-skinned brother. Put it in the chat. I always forget his name, but I forget everybody's name. Dark-skinned brother who came out in the 90s, used to be on Donahue. He used to wear the kente cloth suits and all of that. He had the same situation happen with him under Louis Farrakhan. Oh, girl, what is this? No, not him. Khalid Muhammad. Yes, thank y'all so much. Brother Khalid Muhammad had the exact same thing that him and Malcolm, talking about Louis Farrakhan and Malcolm had. The exact same thing happened with Brother Khalid Muhammad, okay? So, history repeats itself. There's nothing new under the sun. Everything you did has already been done. So, let's get into him, talk about how, I got him up out of here. What's up? You know what I'm saying? Let's get into it. And this is not just attack on the Nation of Islam, because all religions are like this, all of them. But let's get into it.
But neither are you. But if somebody attack what you love,
somebody's God.
Each one of you in here would become a killer instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Am I lying? Mother, let somebody look like they're attacking your child. Here's a woman who fought a bear because the bear snatched her baby. And she ran the bear down, screaming until the bear dropped her baby. Love casts out fear. We don't give a damn about no white man law when you attack what we love. And frankly, it ain't none of your business. What have you got to say about it? Did you teach Malcolm? Did you make Malcolm? Did you clean up Malcolm? Did you put Malcolm out before the world? Was Malcolm your traitor or was he ours? And if we dealt with him like a nation deals with a traitor, what the hell business is it of yours?
Now, before I let him finish, see, this is how people spark emotion, right? All they do is find something that you can relate to and use that to go into the point that they want to make, right? So, for instance, he bring up the fact that a mother chased down the bear because he had her child. Everybody can relate to that. Like, yo, that's my child. Like, of course, you know what I'm saying? But what he just did was try to relate that to Malcolm. Now, remember, under the law of treason, if you're one of us, we get to do whatever it is we want to do to you. That's why I said we need to bring back the treason law. But that wasn't what this was really about. Yes, Malcolm went on a spree and told everybody Elijah Muhammad was out there messing with them churn. Yes, he did that. He did it. But at the end of the day, he's justifying this. And we're going to rewind it just a little bit. But he's justifying what happened after he gets you emotionally charged. You'll be like, yeah, it's treason. To be like, oh, it don't matter what we did to Malcolm. Did you feed him? Louis Farrakhan, no, you didn't. Did you put him out before the world? Louis Farrakhan, no, you didn't. Did you clothe him? Did you clean him? Louis Farrakhan, no, you did not. Mind you, Elijah Muhammad was coming up on here telling everybody, oh, y'all, I told them, leave him alone. Don't touch a hair on his head. And behind the scenes, he probably was like, kill that nigga. Your enemies be right next to you, rubbing shoulders with you. Okay? Now, I'm going to run him back just a bit, and I'm going to let him finish. Because I'm telling you, this is a greasy, dirty, funky world.
It ain't none of your business. What have you got to say about it? Did you teach Malcolm? Did you make Malcolm? Did you clean up Malcolm? Did you put Malcolm out before the world? Was Malcolm your traitor or was he ours? And if we dealt with him like a nation deals with a traitor, what the hell business is it of yours?
The fact that people applaud this, either two things come to my head. One, either they revere Elijah Muhammad as a god too, or they just revere Louis Farrakhan as a god, and whatever he say, they just gonna go with it. Either way, it's scary.
You just shut your mouth and stay out of it. Because in the future, we're going to become a nation. And the nation got to be able to deal with traitors and cutthroats and turncoats. The white man deals with his. The Jews deal with theirs. Salman Rushdie wrote a nasty thing about the prophet, and Imam Khomeini put out a death thing on him, and it stands today.
Yeah. This is the Elijah Muhammad that everybody adores. Not me though. I don't give a fuck about no Elijah Muhammad or Louis Farrakhan or Master Farad. I don't give a motherfucker about a nigga wearing a bow tie unless he get married. And I don't even care about him. So I want to show y'all this other thing. Hold on, because we ain't gonna be here too long. Hold on, I want to show y'all something else. So let me show you this video. And remind you, these people are capable of doing whatever they want. They just have to put it amongst the public so that, you know what I mean, that we know. Look.
X was Louis Farrakhan's mentor, his teacher in the Nation of Islam. They believed that the white man was evil, that the black and white races should live separately. When Malcolm X revealed publicly that Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Nation of Islam, was guilty of impregnating several of his teenage secretaries in direct violation of his own preachings of no sex outside marriage, Farrakhan was outraged, and he wrote that Malcolm was, quote, worthy of death. On February 21st, 1965, as Malcolm spoke in New York City's Audubon Ballroom, members of the Nation of Islam opened fire, killing him in front of hundreds of his supporters. Malcolm's wife and children were there, including Atala Shabazz, Malcolm's eldest daughter. She was 6 at the time. As you will see on 60 Minutes this Sunday, Minister Farrakhan met Atala Shabazz for the first time in front of television cameras. And Farrakhan acknowledged his role in Malcolm's assassination.
I wish that Malcolm X were alive today and not dead. Yes, it is true that black men pull the trigger. We cannot deny any responsibility in this. Where we are responsible, where our hands are a part of this, we beg God's mercy and forgiveness.
What did you expect to come out of this conversation? What did you hope would come?
I genuinely hope that perhaps a healing can come to Miss Shabazz and her family. As I may have been complicit in words that I spoke leading up to February 21st, I acknowledge that and regret that
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. She a better woman than me. Because this the part where my arms would have got the windmilling. Right here. Hold on.
Leading up to
Wait, hold on,
February
hold on, hold on.
24th, leading up to words that I spoke may have been complicit in words that I spoke.
Right there, my arms would have got to working on their own. What the fuck you mean you may have been complicit? Bitch, you know you killed my daddy. Ah, bitch, you know what I'm saying? Girl, I'm talking about 100 miles an hour each arm. What you mean? You gonna sit across from me and tell me your words may have been complicit of killing my daddy? Bitch, they would have to peel me off of him. Take me with him, Lord. Take me with him. Because guess what? If I gotta go meet my daddy, I gotta go meet my daddy. Because I gotta bop you upside your head right quick. That's, you know what I mean? Like, you killed my daddy, bitch. Like, and you know what you was doing when you was saying what you was saying, bitch. Don't play. Ooh, girl. Let's move on.
Leading up to February 21st,
you a better woman than
I
me,
acknowledge that and regret that any word that I have said caused the loss of life of a human being.
On Sunday, you'll see how painful it was for Atala Shabazz to listen to Minister Farrakhan's memories of her father's life and death. Malcom was only 39 years old when he was killed. This month, he would have been 75.
That man was 39 years old. Girl, the way my fist would have landed on that part on the side of that nigga head. Girl. Nevertheless, because I'm acting like he was my daddy. Girl, I don't even want to sit down and talk to him. Like, what we talking about? Only way I want to sit down and talk to him is if I'm planning on windmilling. That's it. That's it. You like me, Josh. I'm mad that he ain't even my daddy. Girl, listen. I feel like you playing with my daddy at this point. Are you crazy? Maybe she feels some sort of peace hearing him say it, but not me. They would have been pulling me off of that man. Girl, I don't want to hear no peace. I don't want to feel no peace from the nigga who got my daddy up out of here, girl. That ain't gonna make me feel peace. If anything, I'm gonna have more nightmares about windmilling on the nigga. But I feel you though, JM. JM said, but not me, because it can't be me. I ain't cut like that. See, that's them older women, them good Southern Christian women. Peace, girl. Peace. Bitch, I'd rather die in turmoil than to hear that peace. No, ma'am. I don't want no peace. No, girl, no. And that's the biggest thing. Took him out in front of her too. And she was 6 years old. Hopefully she don't remember it at 6. But I ain't gonna lie, she may have, because that's something very traumatic and very major for her. Girl, peace. I don't want no peace. I want to live in turmoil as I windmill on that nigga head. Girl, if they gotta pop me, take me out popping that nigga upside the head. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. My nerves bad. But anyways, you guys, I just wanted to share those things with y'all. I don't want to hold y'all up too long. But let me say this, y'all. Let me say this because girl, the peace part sent me over. I ain't gonna lie, the peace part. I don't want to be in peace. I want to be in peace. Love Wisdom, thank you for the super chat. It makes sense why old Caribbean Lou became leader, serenade the masses with useless speeches, scheming, and plotting. And you know what's crazy? People think that he did so much for Black America. And I ain't gonna say he haven't done. I just don't know what it was. I mean, the Million Man March, it was a bunch of niggas in hot men's warehouse suits watching up to Washington. But I guess I remember they had the video, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. You will know. I don't know. I guess that's what niggas wanted a march. I don't know. But anyway, but listen, Malcolm was part foreigner too. Malcolm was supposed to be the next in line to carry on the bull, but Malcolm went the other way. Now listen, Louis Farrakhan, I've never too particularly liked him. Never. I didn't see. It's not that I never liked him. I never saw the hype that others have in him. I just never have. I just never seen that. I just be like, all right, he a Muslim leader. Like, what's the big deal? This before me even knowing what's going on with him. So I never really got it. But again, I'm from the South and we don't do the whole Muslim thing. We just don't for the most part. Okay. But it makes sense. Yeah. Old Caribbean Lou. Old Caribbean Lou. Deserving one. Thank you for the super sticker. And Tina Sanders, thank you for the super chat. Was she the one who tried to have Farrakhan killed? Did she? Now that would be news to me. If she did, then kudos to that lady. Because she supposed to do that for her daddy. She supposed to do that for her daddy. That what she supposed to do for her daddy? Yay. But I would have windmilled on him first. Just to put my hands and feet on him. You know what I'm saying? They said no, it's Alicia. Is that how you say her name? I apologize for my part in things and what I may have said. Bitch, girl. You know, hood people, before they start swinging, they say, bitch. That's all you look. You heard. I apologize for any part I may have played in the killing of your father. Right after that, bitch. Bitch. You know that bitch come hard too. Bitch. Girl, I'm serious, girl. Like, my nerves get bad. Like, for real. My nerves get... I don't know why that be our go-to word, but you know, that's bitch. Next thing you know, the licks would have been coming. I wouldn't even know what was happening. But anyway, y'all, like I was saying with Louis Farrakhan and Malcolm X, I didn't know that he did the OAAU, the Organization of Afro-American Unity. And basically what he was doing was trying to get out of the old ways of just saying we hate the white boy and saying let's go around the block with all of this. Let's go to the UN and get actual results. Let's form all of these organizations amongst other pores in the community, as did the Black Panthers and other people before them. And a whole lot of things. And those are the reasons why he was killed. Not because he was making these speeches and he had a lot of people following him. That's stuff that contributes. But to be completely honest, the reason why he was killed was because he was on a trajectory to make actual change, as was Fred Hampton and others that, you know what I mean? That went through those things. But I wanted to bring that to y'all because that was something I didn't know. So I felt like, well, yeah, I'll bring it on here and show that to y'all, you know, see what y'all think about it. But yeah, and that motherfucker, Louis Farrakhan cannot be trusted. Because I don't care about no Farrakhan. And I don't. Everybody, ooh, Farrakhan, ooh, don't say nothing. Ooh, girl, fuck Farrakhan. Anyways, he killed that lady daddy. Wait, that was something. Malcolm and Mark was both killed at 39. That was both 39. That's that numerology shit. Wouldn't surprise me, child. Wouldn't surprise me. But with that being said, y'all, shout out to everybody in the building. I'm about to get off of here. I got some other stuff I need to do. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for being here. Like the video if you haven't already. And we'll be back next Friday. We'll definitely be here Monday for the Joes. Also, you guys, we are definitely going to be at the Dollhouse tomorrow. I got some tea over there to spill. And yay, we going to get it popping how we get it popping. Shout out to everybody being in the building. Please hit the like button on your way out. Instead of josing out with the music, y'all want the music to jose out or y'all want this new little intro I did? I'm gonna do the intro, then I'm gonna do the music. It's only a minute for the intro, but shout out to everybody in the building. I'm about to jose y'all up out of here. I'll see y'all on the next one. And if y'all have any suggestions y'all want to send to me to do for Educational Friday, please send me an email at voodoodollpodcast@gmail.com. Send me suggestions y'all may want to talk about on the channel, okay? Love y'all down to the ground, and peace. Have a good Friday.
I don't mind the term African American. I don't want to be called African American.
Why is that?
I'm not African.
My grandmother
was a full-blooded Iroquois.
As you're aware, in 1912, Dr. Walter Plecker became the first director of the Bureau of Vital Statistics. But he was part of the eugenics movement, which was a movement about creating one race of people, which was white, and everything else was put in a pot, as Tina Marie would say, and stir it up and call colored.
But basically, when he was the registrar for the Bureau of Vital Records, he changed the names of Indian people in Southampton County.
Exactly.
Their race from Indian to Negro or colored.
Well, it was referred to as colored.
The most significant thing here is to reveal the much greater amounts of Native American ancestry that are present within the African American population than most people realize, because they might have been misled by the use of terms like mulatto and also people of color.
Some of us started here in this land. Everybody wasn't brought over from Africa.
It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you. That the Indians were you.
Can you hear me now? Oh, let's go! It's your boy Big Chew, the voice of the beat.
You know what I want?
Blaze up!
Come on, Blaze up!
It's the beat for me!
Wah, 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we love. For your boy. For your boy. Also for your boy. Fix it for your boy. Drop it for your lift it up.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.